My dad's not around. I'm gonna look at his gun. Why is it not working?
Yeah.
Why is it not working?
What are you doing?
Trying to get into your safe.
Why, bud?
I want to look at your gun.
Why don't you just ask me? We could have looked at it together.
Oh.
All right. Well, what do we need to do?
Pull the mag out.
All right. Is it unloaded?
We don't know. It's unloaded.
All right. Now what do we have to do?
Point it in a safe direction.
Okay. And guys, it's that simple. This can help you keep it that way. Hey guys, you're watching Archetype of Man. I'm Nick, and today's video is brought to you by Onnais. They're the ones that made the safe that you saw in that intro there. Contrary to what that intro may lead you to believe, my son Stetson is very good around firearms and just a phenomenal kid in general. That being said, I still keep them inaccessible. I've got the standard gun safes, that are fire rated, all that good stuff that I keep my guns in normally. But those aren't very accessible to us adults in times of an emergency. That's where something like this comes in immensely useful, in my opinion. This is one of my favorite products. When companies send these to me and they're like, hey, do you want to review this? I get very excited because it has never been easier to prevent what you saw in the intro, a kid getting their hands on a firearm without your permission or whatever, or even other adults to a degree. It's never been easier to prevent that than it is now. These are out there, they're relatively inexpensive, and they work great for what they're designed for. Obviously, a determined burglar could get into this in a heartbeat, and we'll go ahead and get that out of the way. That's not what this is for. This is to keep a gun accessible, but also inaccessible to people that aren't supposed to have it. This particular model comes with key backup, so you could use it that way if you wanted to. I think it'd be a waste, but you can use a key. You can also input a code, or you can do biometrics on the fingerprint scanner. So it'll store up to 30 fingerprints. So if you want to have, I advise having a couple of your own in there in case something happens to that hand. You have a cut, you're sweating, bleeding, whatever. You can get into it with another finger. Your spouse can put their stuff in there. But as you can see, it's not programmed for Stetson. Stetson couldn't get into it. And that's kind of the point, right? Keep the kids out of it and keep it accessible on your nightstand or wherever for adults. So I actually have a couple of these style safes in my home for just that point. You know, if I don't want to have a gun on my person, I have one nearby that I can get to that they can't. And again, my kids are great around firearms, but an ounce of prevention beats a pound of cure, right? So inside, I have my CZ P07. So you can see it fits that gun just fine. It will fit my Beretta M9A3, provided I don't have an extended mag on it. You have room in here to put, you know, with this style gun, you could put a tourniquet, a flashlight, extra magazine, whatever you want to have in there, ready to go. Ear protection, if you think you might have time to put that on. These are phenomenal just devices. And again, guys, I cannot stress this enough. There's really no excuse. Now, everybody wants to have something around just in case something happens, and I get that 100%. I subscribe to that theory, but I would never be able to forgive myself as a parent if my preparation for an incident in which I would need a gun was irresponsible to the point that one of my kids got into it. And no matter how much I think they wouldn't do that, this just helps me make sure of that. I would never be able to forgive myself if something happened. We often get firearms as tools to protect ourselves and our families, and it would be tragic and catastrophic if that tool was then the source of a tragedy. I think it's very important that we are mindful of making sure that just because they're accessible to us doesn't mean that they're accessible to children, or like I said, even other adults. Everybody knows somebody that you wouldn't want being able to get their hands on a gun. So this buys you some time. If there's another adult in the house or whatever, I highly recommend them. With the ability to have firearms does come a sense of responsibility. Now, this isn't pro-gun control at all. I obviously am against that, but we do have a responsibility to self-regulate. So if you're starting to type in the comments that I'm some filthy leftist or whatever for advocating this, well, no, I'm not. I just think that it's never been easier to prevent kids getting access to guns than it is now, and we do have that responsibility as gun owners and as parents. We have that responsibility as parents to ensure that our children aren't getting into stuff. So by all means, teach your kids gun safety, and I'll link to a video where we go over a lot of stuff on a holster video I was doing. We really do have a lot of tools at our disposal to make that easier on us, both protecting our home, we can get to those guns quickly, and also keeping children from being able to get into them. So I wholeheartedly recommend this stuff. This particular one uses 4 AA's, I believe, and it says it has a battery life of up to 10 months. Now, I've been playing with it a lot. I've been trying to have people get into it and things like that, so I'm sure I'll get less than that 10-month window. But keep your backup key somewhere safe, maybe in your regular gun safe, and check your batteries periodically or change them out preemptively if you'd like. Some models are rechargeable. Like I said, there's a ton of them out there, and they all seem to be just fantastic things. I'm going to link to another one that I highly recommend down in the description, or there may be a card floating up there above. There will be a link in the description and the pinned comment if you want to order this one. It is an affiliate link. I will get some kickback from that, if you will, but know that I'm not recommending it for that reason. I'm recommending it because I believe wholeheartedly in these products. All right, so Stetson has something he wanted to say to any kids that might be watching.
Kids, don't mess with guns unless your parents are around.
And parents, make it a point. Take your kids to the range. I know that time is a constraint. I know that we're all very busy, but try to make it a point. And if you can't get to the range, at least teach them gun safety. Answer the questions they may have. It's not taboo in our household. Like, guns are normal, right, in our house?
Yes.
And he's fully aware that some people don't like guns and some of the reasoning why people don't like guns. And he understands that they are dangerous, right?
Yes.
So there we go. This parenting style may not be for everybody. It's what's worked for me so far with my kids. You know your kids best, but the earlier you start, the better. He's seen me handling firearms, having firearms, shooting firearms since he was very little. So to him, it's no different than me using a hammer, a chainsaw, a weed eater, all also tools, but he understands that we can only use them when mom and dad are around, and he has seen what they can do to targets and some small game as well. So there is that. Like I said, I highly recommend these products, especially the Onnais safe. It is very cool. The amount of options you have, both with Keypad, Biometrics, and the backup key is cool. They do have the RFID versions as well. I'm not a super huge fan of those because that's an object that somebody could get and then use to open the safe, much like you would need to keep the keys secure for that one. That's just my personal feeling on it. You may feel different, and that's fine. But the biometrics have come so far, and we're really blessed to live at a time where they can put biometrics in a relatively affordable unit such as that. So there you go, guys. Drop your thoughts down in the comments. How did you bring your kids up with firearms? How do you ensure that they're safe with firearms? And any advice you may have for new parents that are trying to navigate a healthy balance of teaching their kids about guns and whatnot, and also just letting them be kids. So, guys, stay safe. Try to get to the range. Take your kid to the range if you can. And I'll see you next time. You want to tell them bye?
Bye.
All right.